Welcome to Crest in partnership with Elusive, producer Dodd here. For this year's Christmas episode, we've decided to catch up with former Crest presenter and all-round Welsh surfing legend, James Rhino Thomas. As many of you probably know, following our episode with JP last year, Rhino emigrated to New Zealand. So for this show, Rhino gives us the rundown on what the waves have been like, what the surf culture's like, and more generally, what it's been like to move to another country. If you're not Googling how to get whatever job you're good at in New Zealand by the end of this episode, I'll be very surprised. I know I'll be spending December tarting up my CV. Anyway, hope you've been getting some decent winter surfing done. Paddle over and say hello if you see any of us in the water, and we hope you have a great Christmas.
Well, it gives me immense pleasure to be talking to Rhino again.
Good morning, Tom.
It's amazing,
how are
this
you?
technology. Well, you say it's the morning for you. It's the evening here.
Yeah.
And it's, right, so it's 3 degrees outside and dark. I've just been out doing a bit of very unpleasant winter training. There's no surf. And where you are, I can already see. What's the weather like? What's it doing?
Actually, it's actually reasonably cold today. It's about, for summer anyway, it's like 19 or 20 degrees just about now. So it's it could be a bit warmer, but I'm not complaining. I know how cold it is back home. So,
And what's the surf like?
Yeah, it's good. I got out about an hour ago, just surfed. It's just overhead. There was no wind and went in Whale Bay. So, it was good. Just nice to get that first hour of the morning in and start the day off the right way, you know?
So Whale Bay is the beach break closer to town from the Raglan points, right?
No. So Whale Bay is just round the corner from Manu. So Manu is the sort of the way
Okay, I know.
Yeah. So Manu is the wave that everybody knows, which is in the endless summer. Which is the one that you sort of just surfs forever. You can have a wave probably 300 meters long, something like that. But I went around the corner this morning. One of the reasons is just a bit easy access. I just parked up, got in, the tide was nice and low. And there was just sort of 4 of us in, which is nice. And
What was the surf like?
Yeah, it was clean. It was only head high, I suppose, and a couple of bigger sets, and there wasn't much grunt to it, but it's just nice to get in, you know. You just I pretty much these days, since I've been here, I've been obviously quite lucky in actually being able to base myself in Raglan, but the surf here is so consistent, which pretty much it'll allow you to surf pretty much every day if you really want to. So at the moment, I think I'm averaging a surf every other day, which isn't bad. So it's better than going to the gym, you know.
Which is where, not quite a gym. I've just been to someone's garage, but it's freezing. I tell you what, you're better off out there for sure. Yeah. So I'm stoked you've joined us, Rhines, and now Rob is possibly going to join us. He's in his Cricket Club's AGM, Pontier Cricket Club's AGM.
Okay.
Which I think is a code word for some sort of midweek beer festival.
All right. Oh, so it could be if he does join us.
Yeah, you might start singing down the line to us, you know.
Oh, that'll be nice.
So I don't know if Rob's going to show up or not. He either will or he won't. That's classic Rob. And thank you so much for joining us. Though we can have a little sort of catch up with the Rhines for Christmas special, because I know here we've got like hundreds and hundreds of people who, you know, we're like your friends or your acquaintances, and you get asked after a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I suppose it's nice and efficient for you, because you can have a quick yak with us, and then people can catch up on you and find out what you're up to and all of that. But it's gone smoothly so far. Then what are you a year now?
Yeah.
So
I think we actually arrived in New Zealand itself at the end of October last year. So we're just over a year now. Whether that's the honeymoon period over or not, I don't know. But so far, so good. It was a real I don't know. It was a huge move. It was a really big move for us. We'd never even been to New Zealand before. I'd never even lived abroad before. Never left Port Call at all. So I was, I guess, what people would call a home bird, I suppose. So yeah. So like for me, like I was full of nervousness. But I knew the surf was going to be good, better than Wales, I suppose, or more consistent. Let me put it that way. And I think actually arriving here has been a massive surprise, or like it's been really good. I didn't expect the surf to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How good is it?
Well, if I put it this way, so I've been surfing for quite a long time now.
Don't pull any punches now.
Well, I put it this way. So I went on a trip to Indo for I think 15 years ago with Gary, Paul, Herbie, and all the boys. They were all there, and we had really good waves. So I reckon in the last year I've had waves similar, if not better, than that trip, which was 15 years ago, and everything in between. So yeah, I'm consistently surfing, or I have been consistently surfing, like absolutely like cranking waves. Yeah, it's been really, really good.
And they get hollow waves?
It depends where you go.
The classic pics you see of Raglan.
That's right. Yeah, like
it's a point break, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's the thing. Obviously, the majority of the waves here, where I'm based here, are lefts, and they are super rippable, like super rippable. And there are a couple of places where you can go on the points where, like any point break, I guess, where it'll sort of go across a shallow little section, and you'll get like a barrel section. So it is there, but the most hollow waves I've surfed here in Raglan are pretty much on the beach, so that it can get like a French beach break here, rights and lefts. So that's pretty good, and that is actually quite refreshing to go right. It sounds really rubbish to say, but like I go left so much, or have been going left so much. Going to surf the right at the beach is a bit of a novelty, and it feels it's cool, because I was like, I can still actually go right then. I can actually surf on my front side again. So,
and that's nearer to where you're living than the Manu Bay point breaks onwards, isn't it?
Yeah. So the beach is probably a couple of minutes from here, and then the Manu then is probably about 5 minutes from here. So it's like, not that far, but it's all. I have to go in the car. I can't actually walk it. So, but
But you've properly landed on your feet, haven't you? Because you are actually in Raglan, because you started off inland a little bit, didn't you? It was like an hour inland or
That's
something?
right. Yeah, we were, for the first 6 weeks, we ended up in a place called Cambridge, which is an hour from the coast. Now, I've never, ever lived away from the coast. So that 6 weeks living in the middle of New Zealand was just a real, like, it made me realize, not that I didn't realize already, but it made me think, gosh, I really need to be by the, and also not just me, actually, my wife and the kids, we really missed the beach and the water and the sea and seeing and the smells and all that sort of stuff. And then one weekend we drove for our first weekend to Raglan, and the kids lit up. I'll never forget it. And Soph was the same. And she just turned to me. She goes, "We have to live here. We just have to live here." And I think that's the thing. It's like Raglan is quite a special place, and I, like being here for a year now, and with my job, I get to see plenty of people traveling through Raglan, and it's certainly got some kind of magic. I should work for the New Zealand Tourist Board, shouldn't I?
So your job is in a surf shop there, right?
So I've got a really cruisy little number here with the Raglan Surf Emporium. So I'm looking after.
And is that the stuff you're wearing now? I can see you've got a beanie and the t-shirt on there.
So Raglan Surf Emporium, they're based right in town. So I sell the surfboards, I sell the wetsuits, and pretty much all the technical hardware side of things. So as you can imagine, with Raglan being a surf town, we get everybody coming through for their boards, their wax, all that sort of thing. It's it's a pretty cool little number. And also I work. Well, I have 4 days off one week, and then I have 2 days off the next. So it's it allows me to surf a lot and just basically be based in Raglan, which is amazing.
Yeah, incredible. And how far is SOF School from where you guys are?
So SOF School's about 50 minutes from here. So she does the commute. But like, I guess compared to the UK, it's kind of standard. People will drive an hour, in the UK, pretty much like here. But like she says, like she comes home and it's a little bit like that thing when you drive down the M4 and you pull off junction 37 to Porthcawl, you sort of, you pull in and you see that, and that's what it's like coming into Raglan. You come home and so, whether you're coming back from Hamilton from the shopping trip or whether you're coming back from work, Soph comes home and she's like, almost like all your stress sort of levels go down and your worries go away. You're like, I'm in Raglan again.
Have you come to believe this thing? I know they say out there that there's like an hour of driving, and then there's like different countries have a different hour. So New Zealand has a New Zealand hour is like going to involve lots of lanes, turning, bending, and then like an American hour is going to be sitting on a freeway, possibly in traffic. Have you found that?
Yeah, that's the thing. Soph's like from where Soph works to the house here in Raglan. Pretty much it's an hour's solid driving, but she doesn't encounter any other traffic at all. The only, she only sees cows and sheep and a couple of birds
dead
and rabbits.
Possums in the road.
Yeah, squashums we call them. So so it's not a stressful drive, that's for sure. It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
How did the job come about then? Did you know someone, or did you just kind of get chatting in the lineup to people, or did it sort of?
Yeah, for me, no. Like I was really, when I got here, I took 5 months out, just to chill. I looked after the kids, and then like obviously I had to get a job at some point, and I just went and met Mel and JC from the Raglan Surf Emporium here, and sort of just told them my experience and my background of what I'd done in the past, working for Brad and all that sort of thing. And I sort of it was just a natural progression for me. It was good. We fitted in well. The guys who I work for, they're really great. I think they like me. I'm still there, so I think they've been there like 7 months now or something. So it's really cool. It's working like I said. I was going to say earlier actually that you get to see like plenty of different people coming through. Like people from all over the world, literally every single corner of the world. And it's pretty cool to see like people's reactions to Raglan. They were like frothing, and it's really nice because everybody comes in, everybody's in a good mood because they're in Raglan and they're all about to go and surf the best waves of their life. So it's a pretty cool environment.
Yeah, I got to ask, when I went there, I surfed Manu Bay. Yeah, right. And then I went down to visit my mate Herb, who lives in New Plymouth. Yeah. And I got down there and I got a bit spun out because I was in a rented camper van, and I'd been told all these horror stories about car crime at Raglan, including Splinter's famous horror story, which I think is on our Surf Travel Nightmares. It might be on the Splinter episode of this anyway. And so I went up to, I think it's Whale Bay, and then I looked at indicators as well. And on both occasions, I just felt spooked to leave like this camper van with like everything in it there because it was really quiet. It was the winter time. And I surfed Manu Bay, and I had a great surf. I thought the waves were pumping. Yeah. Daniel Kiriopa was the first person I saw take off on a wave, and I just thought like, right, well, if he's in there. Yeah. And then when I got to Herb's at New Plymouth, he was ribbing me about it. He was like, you surfed Manu Bay? Like, that's like the end, and he was, he was calling me a coward and like laying into me proper. So I got to, was Herb telling me the truth? Was I missing out? Yeah. Obviously, don't give away any super secrets of Raglan.
I mean, to be fair, like Manu Bay is, like I said earlier, it's the celebrity. Everybody wants a part of it. But there's a part of Manu Bay which is semi-well documented on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And it's right. This is where that's where people like DK, Daniel Kiriopa, you got Tana Clapham out there. You've got Luke Diamond from his dad is Tim Diamond from. So all those the local guys, they own it, and they're out on the end is a kind of slab. Larry is the other one. Larry's out there, and those guys own it, and you can't really get a sniff of it really if you're not from around here. So that there is a serious wave, and if you can get out there and get like a good wave there, because it's super shallow and it's super intimidating, and it gets solid and really big as well. That is like an amazing wave. But then you're right, if you go around the corner, like you can surf Whale Bay where I surfed earlier, which is on its day is really good. Sometimes they call it Snail Bay, but it's super rippable. And then you can go further on up again, probably another like 500 meters or something like that, and then you get to Indies, which is a good wave.
Yeah. Okay. Oh wow! And then there's like a right-hand sandbar, isn't there? The other side of the estuary.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything about that one, but well, if anybody knows like Nash Bank, it's pretty much that, but longer again. And that's the thing here is access to the sea via boat or jet ski is really easy. There's boat ramps everywhere. So like pretty much every driveway, every house, they've all got some sort of watercraft. So there's loads of ways around here where guys just disappear off, and you think, well, you're in the water. Where are they off to then? There's like out to banks, there's like out to reefs in all sorts of places. So
wow.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, and you've done a winter. So winter in New Zealand is, I'm guessing, like not really winter.
I think that's the thing. So my brother came over here in August, which is actually midwinter. And there was quite a few days where we'd be having a barbecue on the deck with a shorts and t-shirt on, which isn't bad. Temperature's about 18 degrees, like at its warmest.
Yeah.
But then there's not to say that it doesn't rain and it does get cold and it does get windy. But it's nowhere near as harsh as a UK winter. Nowhere near. The days, the shortest day here as well is actually 2 hours longer than the UK shortest day, which makes a difference. So that you can you've got that extra hour or so.
The days still feel long in the summer, though.
Well, that's the thing, and then the reverse is obviously true of the longest day here. We're 2 hours shorter than the UK's longest day, but it still feels. We get out the water. You can still surf till about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Something like that. I think we still got another 3 weeks to go before the longest day. And I believe, definitely till about 9, 9:30 you can surf. So it's fine, absolutely fine.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, what I remember because I've been there in the winter, and I remember that the big difference is that if you get a clear skies in New Zealand in the winter, you'll get warmer weather.
Exactly.
Whereas here, if you get clear skies,
ice cold,
you're going to get cold weather. So it's like a clear sky, like the sun still has the ability to like warm you up in the winter. So, so the colder weather there is going to be if it's overcast or rainy. And then that's like that's the same sort of temperature as, and that's like the same kind of temperature as a rainy day would be here in December.
Exactly.
It's like 10 degrees or 12 or something like that.
I think it reminds me like the sort of coldest day here would be the equivalent of, say, when you get like a bit of a southwesterly blow up the channel in Porthcawl, and it's around about like 13 degrees, something like that. That would probably be around about the sort of coldest it would get daytime temperature, So
except it's not 50 miles an hour wind.
No, not generally not.
Do they get storms?
Well, this is the thing. We had a cyclone last February, I think it was, which caused utter devastation on the east coast of New Zealand. It was called Cyclone Gabrielle. We weren't too badly affected by it. We actually were cut off because to come into Raglan, you've got to go across a sort of mountain pass sort of thing. You probably remember it, but there was a landslide. They call them a slip, and that caused the road to be washed away. So there was no way in and no way out. So for 3 days we were cut off, which wasn't a big deal, to be honest, because like it just meant that there was no one around, so you could go in the water and there was no one in the water apart from everybody who was actually here at the time. So but the winds, like, it does, I think 40 or 50 maximum. I think that's about it,
I've got a question for you here now. You're welcome to blush, right?
Oh yeah.
But obviously, I know you're too nice a guy. You'll deny this, right? But in Wales, you're a surf legend, right?
Thank
you. You've won. You've won things. You've been involved in the surf industry. You've been a character.
Yeah.
In Welsh surfing, right? So when you get over there and you start meeting people, do you sort of like? Do they discover that, like, oh, this guy who's moved over here from Wales, oh shit, he's actually like a bit of a legend, like, or do you sort of, I know you are blushing. It's like what happened? Do you at any point sort of say to them like, oh, here's all my clippings from when I've been in the surf mags, or oh, by the way, I'm 4 times national champion, and because obviously I know that you surf good, and I'm sure the New Zealand surfers are impressed by your surfing. But we've kind of always believed that, a top Welsh surfer, if they go and surf next to Daniel Keriopa, might not get as noticed as they would in Wales.
100%.
So how has all of that played out? Like, have they clocked that? Like, obviously, if you've got a job in the surf emporium front of house, meeting the public, like they're obviously starting to figure out like what you are and who you are, but like, go on, right. No. Once you finish blushing, go on, have a go at that one.
So here's the thing. So like before I came away, like all that aside, I knew that I was going to like have to come, and I wasn't sure of how the land was going to lie in terms of how localized it was going to be. And I had to figure that one out. And it was because when I got here, I was like totally on my own. Didn't know anybody, so I had to paddle out the points. I had no idea where to jump off from or any of that. So I was literally went in under the radar, and I was just the other thing I must say, when I got here, I hadn't surfed pretty much in the UK for about 6 months beforehand. So I was totally
really wow.
Yeah, so I was totally out of shape. There was none of that. So I was just literally feeling my way. Sort of, because you've got to figure all these things out, the point breaks and how it all works. And only just in the last couple of months, I feel as if I've started surfing probably the best I've surfed for quite a while. Just because I've lost so much weight, and I'm so much fitter now than I was, and I have been for a long time. So, but the other thing is to say about that, and I'll quote Herbie on this. Herbie, like, Rhino, those guys ain't slouches out there. Like there's nobody out here from the local crew who doesn't surf well. They all surf well. So yeah, and just the New Zealand way, everything is very understated, very sort of underplayed. Like somebody'd have like an absolute stinking barrel, and then they were like, yeah, I had a couple of fun ones, and you're like, mate, that's one of the best barrels I've ever seen, and it's just not, I don't think it's not the New Zealand way to blow your own trumpet anyway. And not that I would, but just.
But do you feel like they've kind of figured you out? Like that they know
me?
They know you?
No. No, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of them. No, to be fair, yeah, like a lot of people around here, they all know Wales. Obviously, they know Warren Gatland and all that sort of stuff. So the fact that I'm from Wales, I think that's quite an amusing thing for a lot of people. But yeah,
do any of them still say Carwyn Williams to you?
I've had a couple of people talk about Carwyn. Yeah, a couple of people talk about Carwyn. But yeah, it's a funny old one. I don't know. I don't know. No, nobody knows what I do. I think they're probably not even that interested, to be honest. So
yeah. So, but I suppose you come across as a serious surfer, and that'll do for them, I suppose, because they are also they're nice people, aren't they? You know, they don't.
Super nice. Like,
there's not that kind of brashness, you know.
No, I mean, you've got to go in with a level of humility and respect. And that's one thing that I was, again, like, and I would do that anyway. You know, like when I wouldn't paddle up the point. I don't own the place. I just take my time. The other thing is interesting is that I found I'm maybe going off on a tangent here, but the whole thing of being able to when you're at home, like, because there's long periods of no swell and then suddenly you get swell, everybody's frothing. Everybody's totally frothing, and that can lead to a little bit of like heatedness in the water. Here, it's because it's so consistent. The sort of the feeling is like, well, okay, I've missed a wave. It's no big deal. There will be more waves tomorrow, you know. So
yeah,
it's who's this then? Who's this?
It's Rob Blythe. He's back from his cricket club AGM. He probably can't hear us yet. Look, see, we can start talking about him and what he's wearing and how he behaves.
Cool.
Look at him. He can't hear us.
I've got you.
He is a cool dude. Oh, he can hear us.
Hey, bud. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Rhines?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
We both got hats on.
Yeah, freezing, you see. It's real cold.
I've had a Christmas in New Zealand.
Have you?
I have.
Where were you?
I was in Dargaville.
Dargaville? Where's that? On the North Island or the South Island?
Northwest of the North Island.
Oh, yeah.
Bailey's Beach.
Okay.
It was good. Lots of spates were consumed.
Were they now?
They were.
What's a spate?
It's a delicious New Zealand ale.
All right.
In a blue and orange can.
Yes. No, it's. I've seen quite a few. I haven't actually. I've seen it a lot. I just don't drink it.
Oh.
I'm going to have to try and... I like the way you've just come in there, Rob, with like some real deep New Zealand knowledge, you know? I'm trying to think. Was it... What would I know? No, I know. I used to like picking those little... There's those little lemons in New Zealand that you can pull off a tree. Have you got those in Raglan, Rhines? And they taste like halfway between a lemon and an orange.
Feijoas.
Is that what they're called?
They're called feijoas. Yeah, they are like... I think they're only...
Delicious.
They are stunning. Yeah, like it's really refreshing to be able to... Like when we came over here, I ate something which I've never tasted before. And it's a really odd experience, you know, to actually, when your taste buds haven't tasted something, it's like, wow, that's so cool to have that.
And their kiwi fruits don't look like our kiwi fruits, do they? I remember they're kind of like yellower and sort of bigger.
They're a slightly different colour, slightly different shade, but yeah.
I've got a fantastic fact about kiwi fruit.
Go on.
Do you know which area of the world is the biggest producers of kiwi fruit?
Go on. I don't know.
It's going to be like Egypt or something, isn't it?
It's the Landes region of France.
Yeah. Wow.
Are they allowed to call them kiwi fruit, though?
Yes.
Are they? All right.
It's not champagne. It's a kiwi fruit. Or don't they call them Chinese gooseberries somewhere?
Rob, you've got another good story from your Christmas on the northwest coast of New Zealand from Whangamata.
Oh, yeah, it's pumping. I got punched in the face.
The right-hander?
The left. It's the left. It's like Mundaka.
The left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was traveling with my friend, Ol Davis, Rhines, and we'd just driven across from Dargaville, actually. And we didn't really have a clue what we were doing or where we were going. Someone just mentioned that Whangamata had a decent wave. So we headed there and we pulled up at like 1 a.m. It was pitch black. But you could hear the swell had arrived. And it was one of those East Coast swells. They're going to be really short-lived, but really punchy whilst they're there. Yeah. And there's another guy there checking the surf at like 1 a.m. And he's like, "You boys are here for the surf, right?" And we're like, "No, well, I mean, yeah, we're here to surf, but we don't." It was clearly the spot that loads of people had driven to on the East Coast that day. As it turned out, when dawn dawned, when the sun rose in the morning, it was absolutely rammed, and there were people from all over the North Island who bothered to drive to Whangamata to surf this left-hand bar. And I guess in calm weather, I assume that the sand builds up on this kind of like river mouth, inlet or outlet inlet, whatever. And it was pumping. It was as good as you can imagine a wave being. Really, really hollow on the outside, and then long wall on the inside, but pretty busy. and the peak, as you can imagine, was super duper busy and really, really competitive. Lots of good surfers. So I opted to sit just inside and take a few on the head, but in the hope of picking off some of the scraps and maybe the odd set wave that swung wide. And there was one guy in particular, and he stood out because everybody was in wetsuits of some kind, whether it was a short arm or short leg. But everybody was in something, and he was in a pair of like pale peach board shorts. It almost looked like he was surfing naked. And so he really stood out, and he kept paddling for all of the set waves and not quite getting into them. Or if he did get into them, he pulled back and waves would be missed. And I clocked this, and I thought to myself, right, next time he goes for one, and everybody was pulling off as he was paddling for them.
Oh, get under him and
I
swing
thought,
and
I'm
go,
having
yeah.
it. So he paddled for this bomb. It was like the biggest wave that had come through all morning. And I went for it. I thought it was no. And sure enough, he got into it and then kind of looked like he was going to pull off. And so I went and dropped in, and it was the one wave he caught all morning. And so I bottom turned, and I can't remember. He like faded around me, I think. So I think I was deeper than him anyway, but further inside. And kind of repositioned himself. He was a goofy foot, so he was on his forehand, I was on my backhand. And I acknowledged him and really sorry, and went to pull off the back of the wave. And it was hefty surf, you know. It was like there's that kind of surf where you can't just kick out. You've got to kind of time it, and it takes a few seconds to go from the bottom of the wave to the top of the wave. And so I went to pull out, and by the time I got to the top of the wave, he chased me up the wave, and so we were facing each other, and he just smacked me straight in the mouth.
Oh no!
Yeah. By that point, I'd surfed for a good 3 hours. I was ready to get out. So, and I was shaken up by getting punched by some random guy in the water. And I got to the beach, and I was getting out, and there's a clear, like a grizzled old local running along the beach. And he asked me what the surf was like. And I was like, yeah, it's pumping. But he was the first person that I'd encountered after it. And I said, I just got punched in the face. He's like, what? He said, I do the punching around here.
No.
And he made me describe the guy, and he went off to get him.
Oh, wow. Gosh,
yeah,
but it was friends and influence people, Rob.
Yeah, it was fortunate, though, because we then, because I didn't want to get punched again, we went to a beach break just a little bit south of there. I forget the name of it, and I probably wouldn't want to share it anyway. It was Gravier-esque, just breaking a few yards out from the shore, but really, really makeable. And it was like 6 foot plus, flawless, and there were 2 guys in. Wow. It was beautiful. What a day. New Zealand's great, hey?
This is the thing, Rob. I think that's the thing. Like, I've been a bit. I haven't left Raglan, and I mean, it's kind of. I actually will sort of hold my hands up and say I should have left Raglan a bit, but why would you? Like this? Like I've been here just a year now.
What have you done?
But yeah. But no, like there's literally world class waves here, and it's because it's so consistent. I don't actually, for the first year, I'm just like soaking it all up. You know?
It's such a great place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Fangam Batar, the guys head over there a lot whenever there's a swell. That's certainly when people leave Raglan. They'll go and surf that. But yeah, generally, I mean, as a place, New Zealand is, there's not very many people here. But I think that's the thing. If it was closer to anywhere else, or like closer to the UK, then there'd be more people here. But that's the reason.
Gosh,
do you know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. I'm in love with the Northland of the North Island. It's that kind of subtropical surfing boardies on the East Coast, and you've got those options. You can track across from the east to the West Coast in an hour. At the top end.
Somewhere's offshore, really close by.
Somewhere's offshore, and somewhere has swell. Usually the West Coast, but so many options, and everyone's so friendly apart from Peach Board Shorts guy.
yeah. So everybody is really friendly.
Sounds to me like, Rob, you're applying for a job for the New Zealand Tourist Board as well.
I love it. I dream about it most days. It's just it is so distant, isn't it? It's the thing. It's so isolated.
Now, Dodd has gone to a lot of effort to record some sort of Santa sleigh bell jingle. So we're going to give him an excuse to play it now, and we're going to go to a little break, and we're going to come back for some more of Rob and Rhino and whoever else. So catch you in a minute. We're back. And yeah, you were just saying then that you've pretty much so far stayed in Raglan. So it's quite exciting, I suppose, Rhines, to think that there's that whole like rest of New Zealand to go and sort of get to know once you kind of feel, and I suppose you're in no rush to do that. But have you run into any of the Welsh crew that are out there so far? I mean, when I got there, I think, if I remember, obviously I was there for a much shorter time. I think I'd placed a payphone call to Big Bird with a couple of, this shows how long ago it was, with a couple of coins in the meter. within an hour or two of landing on New Zealand soil. You obviously had a bit more time to get hold of him, but have you found Big Bird?
Yeah, funnily enough, we did exactly the same thing. As soon as we, I think, as soon as we landed in Auckland, we sorted our place, and within, I think, 5 days, we were over on the East Coast in Mount Maunganui over there in Papamoa, knocking on Phil and Laura's door. So it was pretty cool to see those guys.
So for the listener, Big Bird is Phil Rees.
Yeah,
ex Porthcawl legend, and
yes.
And Laura and Chloe. So
yeah.
Hi guys. I know they always listen.
Yeah. So no, it was really cool to go and see those guys. Just going over there and seeing like the like golden sands of the East Coast was beautiful, and the weather was warm and real nice and like tropical. It was just amazing. And and those guys have been back over here too, which has been good too. But yeah, it's cool. It's there's, I think the Welsh people sort of, when you see each other, like you hear each other's language, accents. You're like, oh, are you? But how are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
You were from Wales. Oh, lovely. You straight away. That sort of thing. But to be fair, like I haven't seen masses of Welsh people over here. They don't. I don't know whether Welsh people don't travel that well or not. I don't know, but it's a long way to come. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's literally the opposite of the planet, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Wales does have a bit of land where if you dug through the middle of the earth, you'd come out in New Zealand, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I remember Big Bird, I spoke to him on the phone, and he was like trying to persuade me to come and join him at the Mount, telling me what the surf was like. And then I was like, there was some waves in Raglan or something, and I was trying to figure out visiting somewhere else. And then what I remember was funny was he said to me, well, it'll be good fun, yeah. It'll be like 2-foot revers, I remember him saying. And then I remember like the way he said it, it was like, I was like, it had been like 10 years or something since he'd been in Porthcawl.
Yeah.
And he was using something like we would have said in the late 90s in Porthcawl, like 2-foot revers. And I was just like, oh, fantastic.
Something
and I still say it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so he was well. He surfs on the sup quite a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he's supping. He's out there with sorry, I got a cramp in my leg. He's over there on the East Coast. Nick Swinnerton is over there as well. So I know those guys do a lot of mountain biking together because they're all into their mountain biking. Phil's got an e-bike now. I mean, mountain biking and e-biking in New Zealand is massive. Not that I'm a massive mountain, but I have actually got one here, and there are actually some good trails in Raglan, which I've been on, which is pretty cool. But like places like Rotorua apparently have some of the world's best like mountain bike trails, which I didn't know, but I've since been on YouTube and had a look at some videos, and it looks incredible.
Yeah. The Vegas of New Zealand, they call that place, I think, don't they?
It's very smelly. I know that much. It stinks.
And it's got the world's longest place name, because people think that Llanfair, Pwllgwyngyll, Gogereth, Gwyndobr, Llantysilio, Gogorgoch is it, but it's actually, you have to try and look it up. It begins with a W, and that's the thing that's funny is all the places begin with W, don't they?
Yeah.
And W is an F, so there's lots of places. I was thinking they were called Waka something, and they're actually called like Fuck or something, aren't they? Fuckatane, and it's called Waka Rewa Rewa, and I'm just trying to think. Oh, my phone wants to play Waka Waka by Shakira here. Waka Rewa or something. I'll find it and I'll try and see if I can say it. But it's the world's longest place name, and that's that way. And then the other thing I suppose to ask about is you might not have run into that many Welsh people, but you did. Oh, you run into Joe Fry.
Oh, Joe Fry, yeah. So Joe Fry and Izzy from Joe Fry and Izzy literally live across the road from my dad in Rest Bay in Porthcawl there, and they said, we're going to be in New Zealand, and I was like, well, come and stay. So that was a pretty cool thing, and I heard a surf with Joe in Manu one morning, and it was only small, it was head high or something, and like we had a lovely time, but the swell that day was due to pick up. And so I sort of like we had a nice day chilling out after a surf in Manu in the morning. And so I said to Joe and Izzy, and actually Soph was with me as well. And I said, let's just go and why don't we just go and check Manu now? Let's go and have a look at it because it's supposed to be solid this afternoon. So we go down the beach and sort of pull up. And my boss actually was there, JC, and he sort of turns to me.
So this is leading into what I was going to ask you about, the other person you've run into.
Yeah. And so I'm sort of sitting there with Joe, and JC sort of rocks up, and he's like, "Hey, Rhino, you might want to stick around." I was like, "Why is that?" He said, somebody's going to be sitting out there. He's going to put on a show now. And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Who's that then?" He goes, "Oh, John-John is going to be out there." I was like, "You are kidding me." I sort of turned to Joe Fry, and I said, "John-John's here." And like Joe Fry was just couldn't believe his luck that he turned up for Raglan for a couple of days, and John-John was here. And sure enough, as I sort of say that, I turn out and I look out and I can see that traditional sort of, or that familiar red board and the big hairdo sort of paddling, and then, just because it was solid as well. It was solid out there. And there was all the big guys like Bugsy was out there, Tana Clapham was out there, all really good surfers. But then there was John-John, who, like, I've never seen him surf before, and it was just like incredible, absolutely incredible. He was doing turns on places on the way where I'd never seen before since I've been here. Like it was like top to bottom, and he was getting these turns. It was just really, really good to see. It was incredible.
And is there a sort of a kind of like freak show feel to watching him surf then?
100%. Like, in fact, Joe Fry has actually got he had a brand new camera when he came here, and took a sequence of John-John doing this, like when most people would be sort of running for the shoulder, trying to avoid the lip. And then John-John did this sort of like 360 reverse floater across this section, and then came down, and I actually videoed it, and Joe like took the sequence, and you can hear people like sort of gasping as he did this maneuver, just phenomenal, phenomenal.
And that's him when he's like actually having an off year and injured.
Yeah. Well, he stuck around for like 2 or 3 days. He was here because I think he was either selling his catamaran, his boat was up north somewhere, and he was getting it serviced or whatever you do to a yacht. I don't know. But so he ended up staying here. He did the very next day, the swell jumped again. So he did some tow-ins out at Indies. And then he was out on the sandbar as well. He did some tow-ins there. He was really lucky. In fact, if you've been following him on Instagram and looking at the quality of the waves that he's had all around New Zealand, it makes you want to travel, because he's had some incredible waves all over. Looks really, really good.
Yeah. And can you tell us how you've come to be in Raglan? Because it must be pretty hard to like get yourself set up there. When it's, did you have to kind of move there in winter and then try and sort of hold on to somewhere, or you sort of... That
was the thing. It like literally, Raglan is a beautiful spot, not just because of the surf. Like generally, it's a really cool place to be. It's kind of sort of semi-hippie-ish, but there's a lot of there's a bit of a where we live now, it's sort of expanding, and there's some real nice houses sort of coming. So like Raglan is becoming quite a desirable place to live. To be able to come here was no easy task. It was way more difficult than we had actually imagined when we came here. I thought we were just going to rock up into Raglan, find a place to live, and happy days, off we go. But I was really lucky. In fact, one of the first people that I met from Raglan was a guy called Russ, and he was the estate agent from Ray White Estate Agents. Now, Russ is actually an absolute top guy, and I wanted to thank actually Russ for sorting us a place out to live here. But he's actually from London originally, but has lived in Raglan for 20 years. Russ used to be those guys who holds the table tennis bats for the airplanes in Heathrow. He used to do that. And then one day does that have like what is that? Is that an air traffic controller? Is it like? No, actually, I don't. It's like, I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, he has been here for 20 years, and somebody put me in touch with him, and he was like, right, so Rhino's a surfer. His what? Yeah. So he put us in, sort of put this house in front of us, and we were like, yeah, pretty much let's go. Because we struggled to find. We were here for 6 weeks in Cambridge to start with, and we were looking and we were looking and we were looking, and then there was just nothing available. Literally nothing available. So apart from trying to find a house, the whole thing of trying to find your kids a place in school isn't easy because so the schools don't, they're not massive here. So just that whole thing was it. So the whole jigsaw is difficult, to be able to get everything to fit together in the right way. That is, there were a couple of points where I just thought, oh my God, we could be moving back home here, but this might not work out as we thought. But yeah, in the end, it came to it, so yeah. And then obviously then just the job itself, like when we were in the UK, when we decided that we wanted to go to New Zealand, because like getting a job from offshore isn't easy. I applied for a few jobs from back in the UK and I didn't get them. But then Soph had the job as head of foreign languages over here in one of the schools. And within her being accepted for the job, I think 3 months later, we're on the plane pretty much. So it happened super quick.
Amazing.
Super quick, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, and I'm just trying to think what the other thing was. Oh yeah, I was going to say two more things. We'll fill you in a little bit on any news from here. I'm just trying to think. Rob, you didn't come to the Surfers Ball the other day?
No, I was away, unfortunately. Long booked before the Surfers Ball was announced to return, but I heard it was a very good night.
Yeah, so the Surfers Ball came back. I'm just trying to think. Was it a decade since it had last run?
Wow.
No,
because I know, Rhines, you said you'd sort of looked at the pictures online, and now this will sound crazy to anyone who was there, but it did give you like the tiny bit of FOMO, didn't it?
You said certainly did. It was mad. I sat there and I was yearning to be back in the high tide, and just I saw people doing what do they call it? The conga.
The conga.
I was watching that, and then I was watching your fancy dress costume with Tress there. What's he call them? What was the guys?
Oh, Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead, yes. And all of that stuff. Because I went to like the Surfers Ball back home, and
yearning to be in the high tide.
But then I went for
there's no high tide in Raglan.
No, there isn't. But it looked fantastic. Well done, guys, for pulling it together as well, because that's.
It was nothing to do with us.
Oh no, but for the guys who did, that's Welsh.
Yeah, George and Harrod, Max, amongst others, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I'm thinking, apart from that, there was our local surf club did a trip to the Wave, and we should give producer Dodd an honourable mention because he got his fringe barreled for about 1 second. It might have been a second and a half.
Yeah, and then did he claim it?
And then he claimed it. He threw both arms in the air. And I got a feeling that he might be in receipt of some sort of award when it comes to whatever Christmas dinner they're going to do. And things are well. Some of the Welsh surfers are doing well.
Good.
Pat got a second in the British.
Yeah.
Rob and I were down there doing the commentary.
Yeah. And of course that team's away at the minute. Eli's over in Brazil. I know he's had a bit of a rocky run in the contest, but what a great experience for him.
Yeah.
How was the surf over there for that comp right now?
I think it's very mixed. It looked really big the one day, and then it looked almost flat today.
Head high and wobbly in the one heat he had, wasn't it? And he got a little bit unlucky because I think he had an Italian and it might have been a Swiss. And the Spanish surfer. Anyway, the Spanish surfer obviously was a shredder, but there's no easy draw in those contests anymore now.
There's no slouches, Tom. There's no slouches.
Great experience. Great experience.
There's no slouches. So that brings me. We'll have to take a picture as well. I can see you now because Rhino's got his Raglan gear on and Rob's got you got your cricket stuff on.
Yeah,
Did the AGM go okay? Is it all set?
It did.
Is someone going to roll the wicket again next year?
Yeah, it's all sorted. It's all in hand. I unfortunately kept my job as fixture secretary against my will.
Oh dear.
There we
are. Big question then, Rhines.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You might not know the answer. Like, are you staying?
Oh, so well, that's the thing. Like, we didn't want to, like, I think a lot of people asked me that question when I was in the UK, and probably we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves when we were back in the UK by saying, yes, that's what we're doing. We're going to stay. But we kept our house at home, just so that was a little bit of a security blanket, sort of just to, if things didn't go as they should have. But now we're over a year here, house is on the market. So yeah, I don't think, and we're residents. I've actually got residents here now. So it happened really quickly for us. Yeah. So we'll probably stay at least for 5 years. There's no real, the thing is, I think if I was to come home now, I'd be yearning to come back here, to be quite honest. I'd miss the, I'd miss the surf. I had a funny thing the other day. So I had a dream that I was back home, and I suddenly woke up and I was like, oh my, I was like, no, it's all okay. I'm back in Raglan. It's okay. so I think that sort of says like what I might feel if I came home. Don't get me wrong. The one thing I do miss is the boys, and I miss the banter with the boys and everything. I miss being in the point with the boys. But like, it's certainly more than made up for it, the fact that I'm able to surf pretty much every day here. And not to say I've met loads of really good people here, like Fergus, who literally lives opposite me here. Fergus is from Newquay in Cornwall. I couldn't have believed my luck. So Ferg is like...
So about 80 people together between each other, probably.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
80% of the New Zealand population.
Yeah. No, like Ferg is like as keener than me to go like soup. So we both every morning. It's like he throws stones at my window and I throw stones at his window, and we're like, come on. So between us both, we're surfing a lot. I think this morning was surf number 24 of this month, and I think I'm close to 150 surfs this year so far. So it's not too bad. It could be more.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be more. I think I was, we had there was a couple of days where at the beginning of the year, I was still trying to figure it all out, really. So next year, I'm definitely going to go for, what was it, Tom? What did you say was your target back in the day? 180 or something, was it?
So, yeah, I used to target 183 surfs a year.
Yeah.
Before I had kids.
Right.
Because that is the equivalent of surfing every other day. Because 183 times 2 is 366, and the year is 365 days long.
Right. Okay.
So I'd always aim. And I would get there, that would include like summers in Indo and things like that. And I would probably get there around about like, it would be usually in Crimbo Limbo that I'd land there. It would always come in pretty close.
Yeah.
And then I've cut it by a third. So I tried to get like, was it 122? And then actually in the end I had to come to I had to face reality. When it gets dark and you're doing the family thing, you've been there, and so now I aim for 122 sessions of exercise a year.
Right. Okay.
And so some of them replace surfing. And that's hard to get to.
Oh, in that case, then, I hate to admit it, but I've actually been supping.
Oh no, yeah. So you're well over. You're doing you're putting in pretty much double. And you're doing the school run, and doing a job and everything. So that just is, there's your advert for the New Zealand Tourist Board if ever you need one.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
You ever kept a surf diary, Rob, or anything like that?
No, I've never even thought to be honest. No. I can't write, so.
It was Logan.
Do you know what?
It was Logan who sort of.
Yeah, Logan started it. Well, it didn't start. You know what I mean? He advertised it in our community, didn't he?
Yeah.
I know that myself, Colin Bright, and Jamie Bateman have kept them for decades because we donated our surf diaries to one of those like power companies for them to use for data for researching coastal processes when they were thinking of building those wind farms.
Oh wow!
So they actually took our surf diaries and they took the data they held and they like matched it up because they were trying to work out like what made good waves and things like that, so they could try and work out whether it was going to affect the waves.
That's really interesting.
We were all invited to like a meeting with them, but we were debating like whether two surfs as well. I say you've got to. Logan thinks you've got to just come in and out, and it's two surfs. So if he does a contest and he's coming in and out and changing his vest and going back in, and my rule was always that you've got to take on sustenance between surfs for it to count as 2. So if you get out and you drive to the Esp and you go in there instead, it's 1. But if you get out and you have a drink of water and you drive,
I guess any substantial event in between surfs warrants as counting as a second one. So driving somewhere would be a second surf, I think.
Or a different spot has surely got to count. Yeah.
Food or water, certainly. Change of wetsuit, definitely.
What about if you're surfing in boardies and you've got stage fright and you have to actually run to the toilet to go, and then you go back in the water?
Yeah, I think because maybe the conditions have changed, and that could have been it could have been classed as a different surf.
No, that's a good one. I can't imagine having to get out of the water to go. Stage fright in the water.
Yeah, it's just like, you need to go, and it's like it's just not coming. I
don't know about that.
No, I'm not sure.
You're gonna get down the doctors, mate.
No, it's a well-known thing. Charlie Brooker made a program on it.
I remember actually. You in the toilets at the in Anglet at the QS, you couldn't go.
That was it. Yeah,
in front of those people. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the other question there, Rhines.
Yeah.
On top is, do you have any plans to make a visit to Wales, or is the plan now, like, if someone from Wales wants to have a surf with you, they got to get themselves out to New Zealand for the foreseeable?
Yeah.
I saw your brother the other morning, and he said that he's planning to get out there again, and he's hoping to take your dad out. So what's the plan there?
I think to be honest, right now we've got we probably, if I do come home, it probably won't be for at least another year. We probably will want to do a holiday before we even come back to the UK first. Like
New Caledonia or Tahiti or Fiji or somewhere.
Fiji, Samoa, any of those. Even like the east coast of Australia is like 3 hours from here. So that's a possibility. I mean, I'm not going to go on it, but the boys are like Gary and Tristan and Paul and all the boys are talking about this boat trip to Indo in next 2025, I think it is. But realistically,
there'll be someone selling their ticket the week before.
Yeah,
you'll be able to pick it up if you need to go.
Yeah, a little cheaper. Yeah. So, right. Yeah. So no, but to answer your question, like at the moment, there's no real plans to come back. I don't. If we do go anywhere, it'll be somewhere other than Wales first, which it's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like it is that like Raglan and New Zealand. We've got a lot to see in New Zealand before we even look anywhere else. To be honest, I haven't been to the South Island yet. South Island for surf, just visually, is stunning, like absolutely stunning. The other thing is we actually the snow. Like I surfed
snowboarding,
yeah. So in August, like in the winter time, so I surfed here on the Thursday, and then on the Friday we were up on Mount Ruapeo and we were snowboarding and skiing and stuff in like minus 10 degrees and like snow and everything. It was beautiful. So that's one of the other things living here in Raglan.
So you have now snowboarded?
Yeah, I had snowboarded a little bit. If I'm honest, I did actually ski at Ruapeo, but but yeah, it's just incredible just to be able to do that. It's just like one day you're on the beach surf, but it's quite a funny thing. Like you hear people talking about it here. It's just run of the mill stuff, that's what you do. You go to the snow because then you were surfing yesterday and tomorrow we'll go into the snow.
Yeah.
Just
they can do it in a day down in New Plymouth because Mount Taranaki's got a slope on the side of it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So they can surf.
We were lucky. They'd had the best snow here that they'd had for like over 10 years or something on Ruapeo. When we were there, they'd had like 1.5 meters of snow, so it was really cool. It was really good for the kids and stuff. The kids had never skied before. They loved it. And then my brother was there too, and he'd never skied either. So it was pretty cool for him to be able to say that he'd skied on a live volcano,
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there is plenty of volcanic activity, isn't there? Yeah, there's
certainly
thermals and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
wow. It's all ahead of you, Rhines.
Yeah, it's all. I hope so. I mean, it's to be honest, like, it's the last year it's gone past so quickly. And we've had so much fun. It just feels like, although I've been working the same for Ferg, actually, we were talking about it last night. Ferg's got a really responsible job, way more responsible than mine. He's an environmental consultant for air quality, and so he's quite high up. But he still says, "I feel like I'm on holiday." That's the vibe that it is here. So it's sun always shines. The surf always pumps. The weather is good. We've got space. You've got all the amazing craft beer here. So yeah, and snow and everything. So it's pretty fabulous, that's for sure.
Well, I'm gonna have to start trying to think about an excuse to get out there at some point. Then you'll see us at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like people whenever they're coming through, if people want to come and stay for a couple of days, more than welcome. It's pretty cool to have people come and see, like, people from home. It's really cool. We had Ollie Wongo actually come and stay with us for a couple of days as well, as soon as we came here at the beginning, which was good. That was nice. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Amazing. And, well, we'll have to bid you a Merry Christmas, and we'll give our love to Soph and the girls as well.
Thank you. Yes, Nadolig Llawen. Happy Christmas, everybody.
Nadolig Llawen, yeah. Has Soph learned any Maori?
She does speak. The kids are speaking Maori every single day in school, and
amazing.
It's amazing to see how quick. Yeah, they speak a lot of Maori, which is pretty cool because obviously they do the haka and they do the. I went to the welcome. They call it the what was it? Something whakatau. So it's like the welcome meeting, and you come in, and it's there's a lot of Maori influence, especially here in Raglan. There's a lot of Maori influence.
I got that place name, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So the village was called Whakarewa Rewa.
Whakarewa Rewa.
But the full version is Te Whakawera Wera Watanga o Te Ope Atawa Awaheo.
Right.
And it means the gathering place for the war parties of Wahio, often abbreviated to Waka.
Cool.
No, it's not Waka though, is it? I just said it wrong because I just said every W after the first one as a W, didn't I? Te Whakarewa. Oh, I can't do it with changing the W's to F's. I'm not clever enough. I tried.
Yeah.
Effort.
Good try.
Anyway, Nadolig Llawen.
Nadolig Llawen, all you guys. Enjoy Christmas.
Amazing.
Have a wonderful time. I hope you get
Cheers,
into
Rhines.
surf loads. Yeah, good to see you both.
Good to see you, mate.
Thanks for joining us from the cricket, Robbo.
Podcast with you guys. Last time I did with Johnny P.
I was going to say, you were talking about when you going out there, you hadn't been surfing for like 6 months. I was going to say, it took me about 6 months to get over that curry we had at Johnny P's just before filming.
Oh, don't I miss a curry like that? I really do. It's the good thing about Raglan. There's no McDonald's. There's no curry. So I have
That's why you've got that chiseled jawline down the camera, then, Rhines.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Tom.
Amazing.
Cool.
Hey, so Nadolig Llawen.